皆さん、こんにちは。本日はですね、LifeWave ライブ2020にご参加いただきましてありがとうございます。本日ですね、司会進行をさせていただきます。先月の4月6日に、LifeWave 合同会社のカントリーマネージャーに就任いたしました、高島学と申します。どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。今日はですね、本当にたくさんの皆さんにご参加いただいていると思います。本当はですね、この5月の16日、東京の方で、このデイビッド・シュミットさんとジム・カードウェルさんをお迎えして、このセミナーを開催する予定でした。ただ今回ですね、緊急事態宣言がありまして、皆さんもいろんな形で活動が変化してきていると思います。こういうビデオを使ったりとかですね、なかなか大きなミーティングを開けなかったりとか、そんな中でですね、今回そのキャンセルがあったということを含めてですね、特別にアメリカの方から日本の皆様だけのために、このですね、ウェブセミナーを開催していただけることになりました。本当にですね、皆さん今日は楽しみにしていただけたらと思います。アメリカの本社の方からデイビッド・シュミット社長、そしてマーケティングの副社長でありますジム・カードウェルさん、このお二人からですね、これからのLifeWaveについて、皆さんにお伝えさせていただきます。その前に一つビッグニュースがあります。本当にですね、このコロナの緊急事態宣言の中、皆さんがこのLifeWave製品を使っていただいて、そしてたくさんの方にシェアをしていただきました。そのおかげで、この先月4月はですね、日本におきまして過去最高の売り上げを記録することができました。本当にありがとうございます。そして、皆さんおめでとうございます。ぜひですね、この勢いそのままにですね、この日本のLifeWave社、このですね、会社をどんどん、そして、皆さんの活動によってたくさんの方に、この私たちの世界に一つしかない、この素晴らしい製品を使っていただけるように広げていけたらいいなというふうに思っております。今日のお話をまた聞いていただいて、またいろんなお話に使えることも出てくるかと思いますので、ぜひよろしくお願いいたします。そして1点注意事項があります。皆様のこのですね、右下に翻訳というのがボタンがあると思います。こちらの方に英語と日本語を選ぶことができます。そちらで、日本語を選んでいただきますと、今回のビデオの内容ですね、デイビッド・シュミットさん、またジムさんが話している内容を日本語で聞いていただくことができます。同時通訳になっていますので、皆さん、右下の、ボタンですね、この翻訳というところですね、こちらを、日本語にしていただいて、ぜひですね、今日のお話聞いていただけたらと思います。ではこれからスタートしたいと思います。まずはですね、マーケティング副社長のジムさんをお呼びしたいと思います。ジムさん、どうぞ。
Hello, Mr. Takashima. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
It's great to be here. Did you tell everybody what to do with the interpreting button and things?
Yes, yeah, I did.
Perfect. Well, it's great to be here. And oh my goodness, what times we live in right now, huh, Manibu? It's amazing when you think about how we intended to be there in person right now in Tokyo.
Yes.
But we couldn't. And so we're thrilled through technology to be able to spend this time with leadership and with members across this great country of Japan. We are so excited by what's happening in Japan, and we're really glad to be able to have this time together with you. And we're going to be spending some time to provide some information and to let everyone know what's going on now, what's the latest news now, and we're really looking forward to that, Manabu.
Yes, that's good things. Yeah, actually, we announced we had the biggest sales in April right now. So that's amazing thing. So actually, our LifeWave member is really loves the products, and they use well, and they tell somebody, so many people, you know.
It's great times, and you know, everyone is saying how wonderful a job you are doing, and we are really grateful of the fine work you're doing, the way in which you're getting to know everyone around the country. You're spending the time, you're listening, and this is critical right now. I know David Schmidt really appreciates that. And by the way, where is David Schmidt? Please, David, please come join us. There he is.
Hi, Jim. Good to see you. And Mr. Takashima, very nice to see you as well.
Very nice to see you. Good.
These are interesting times, aren't they, David? You know, I was saying earlier that we normally would have been there, but now as a company, we're learning to do this whole virtual thing, and we've been doing this around the world: France, Germany, Italy, Denmark, Poland, Taiwan, you know, Germany. We've been to various countries already, and we're thrilled finally now to get to Japan, where some very exciting things are going on, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we would have been on a 5-country tour of Asia right now. And unfortunately, this time around, we couldn't make it. But thankfully, technology is what it is today, so we can at least be here virtually. And of course, I want to say hello and thank you to all of our members in Japan. We so appreciate everything that you're doing to make our business in Japan a remarkable success. And of course, tonight we are going to be thanking our leaders and our members for just a remarkable job that they've done. The things in Japan remain strong, growing, and that's incredible given what's been happening the past 2 months around the globe.
And what's of course exciting is everybody realizes, David and Manabu, that we're just getting started. I mean, think about it. You think about the growth rate like this, that pretty much represents what Japan is doing, right? And as a result, here in the United States, we're absolutely making sure that we work with Mr. Takashima and as we think through the types of support that's going to be necessary to help everyone in Japan continue this intense momentum.
Well, you know, Jim, there are tremendous opportunities now. The global economy, of course, has been hurt by COVID-19. But the good news is that there's also opportunities. We, of course, have products that improve people's health in some remarkable ways. And this is, of course, what people are looking for right now. You know, people are very concerned about what is going to happen in the future with the virus and in general with people's health. And so, of course, we have a very unique range of products that improve health in a dramatic way. And of course, with our business opportunity, one thing that's becoming quite obvious is more and more people will work from home. And of course, our business is ideally suited to build it from home. So we have the right products and the right business model at the right time.
And you know, of course, for some folks, right, it's not as easy. For some of our members, you know, it's challenging to deal with the new realities. Perhaps their job is in jeopardy, or they can't work right now. And so I know as a company, on the executive side of things, led by you, David, we've really worked hard to try to do the types of things to help our members, the members that are in need and could use a helping hand from our company. We've done that, haven't we?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. You know, going back into March, we were looking at what could we do to help make a difference. So we have been providing people with free product when they couldn't afford it. We've been putting extra money into commissions for people that weren't earning very much. And then, of course, we've been making other donations. So we have been looking for ways that we could help people that have been really hurt by this crisis.
But as Manabu has indicated, things perhaps are starting to turn the corner a little bit in Japan. You indicated that many of the prefectures are not in lockdown, correct, Manabu?
Yeah. Yeah. Now it's 39 prefecture is over. So now we can start again.
Yeah. So actually maybe have some meetings and get back to some normalcy, huh?
Yes, and actually, from June, I will go to so many prefecture to visit to meet the leaders, and then we're gonna talk more.
Good. Yeah. Well, there's lots going on, and I know a little bit later, Manabu, we're going to ask you to help us recognize key leaders that have just really done an incredible job. Some exciting record has been broken, which we'll share later, and we just couldn't be more thrilled by what really has been happening and continues to happen. I mean, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and so we're very excited about that. So, Manabu, why don't you drop away, and we'll come back in a little bit as David and I share some additional information right now, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for your help as we begin. So David, you and I have been talking about the types of things that, we intend to do in 2020 and certainly beyond. And if you don't mind, I'd like to get into a few of those things now, okay?
That sounds great, Jim. Enjoy, and I'll catch you in a few minutes.
All right, sounds good. Let me bring up some information here because I think it's important that everyone think about, when you look at this phrase of building to a billion together, you have to ask yourself, what's the most important word in that phrase? Is it the word building? Well, that's an important word because that's what we're all doing, isn't it? I mean, whether you're building your team, the company's building, it's what we're doing, building across the world, it's an important word. What about the number billion? Well, that's a huge number any way you look at it. And that, of course, is part of what makes this a terrific opportunity, how far we can go and how big we can become. But when you really do think about it, we do believe the most important word there is the word together, because we know we can't do anything without you. We can't do anything without us all working together. We provide materials, we provide information, we have the compensation plan. There's so many things we're going to be bringing to you over time, and that's the key, isn't it? We support you, you work with us, and we work together because we're coming off the best year yet. You've heard it already, haven't you? That in 2019, compared to 2018, we basically tripled our sales. And we're expecting in 2020 to double or triple again. Even with COVID-19 going on, there doesn't seem to be anything to stop us. So we're coming off this incredible year, but when you think about it, we're just getting started. And think about it, what's the reason? What's the reason? The reason is, I believe, and I think we all agree, this is science that's beyond. This is science that goes in places that no other company, no other business can go. We are doing something that nobody else has ever been able to accomplish. Now think about that. You, as a member, as an individual, with your business, you have almost like a piece of gold. This beautiful, valuable piece of gold is in your hand, and you get to share it with others. You know what that really means, because this is science. It's wearable technology that looks like a patch and does something that no one else has been able to figure out. David Schmidt did figure it out. Think about it, years ago. And over the last 15 years, as he's introduced, the company's introduced product after product. And then along comes X39 and the explosion really began. I like to call it a controlled explosion. This is really science that goes beyond anything else out there. So what's new in 2020? What is going to be happening? Well, certainly one of the first things we're doing as a company is we're making sure that we build our team at the corporate headquarters and across the world. Director of sales, director of marketing, a manager for recognition and events, a new customer service person taking over global responsibility to make sure, because you know, we have things we can continually get better at. We know it. There are absolutely areas of what we do from day to day. We know that we will continually strive to get better and better because we have to support you, and we can't do that with just, 100 people. We are going to go to 120, 150, 200 people over time to make sure that we can support you in the field as we expand. And thinking of expansion, my goodness, you cannot believe the types of phone calls we get from around the world on a weekly basis all the time. Someone calls and says, "Say, we've heard about you. We've heard this word LifeWave. I have a friend who cannot believe what happened when he or she put a patch on and instantly saw a difference, felt better, solved a problem. And could you bring LifeWave to our country?" We are getting those calls all the time. And of course, in Asia, oh my goodness, can we talk? Let's talk about Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines. Thailand is on our radar. We are consistently looking at the countries in Asia because this is a growth area. We know it and you know it. Also, Mexico, also Africa. Africa is a difficult continent to work in, but there are definitely some countries within Africa that are positioned to be able to do incredible business with us. And so we're going through the process to see what's possible even in Africa. So everywhere, anywhere there's someone standing, there's someone in a community where there's the possibility for LifeWave to be there, we are considering it, no question about it. And what about research and development? This is David's world, isn't it? He is an inventor first. He describes himself as an inventor, or he certainly wanted to be an inventor from the tender age of 8. There he was. And he said to his dad, "I think I want to be an inventor." And his dad said, "Oh, come on now," right? So his dad wasn't sure that that was necessarily the right choice for him. Well, guess what? Here we are all these years later, and imagine him he's almost at 100 issued patents for inventions that he's created, that he's put together, that he's brought to market. I mean, it truly is amazing now when you think about what's coming in the future. Because you see, as a company, as a CEO, as a visionary, we're not looking out a year or 2 years. We're looking out 10 years. We're looking out 20 years, because you understand how special this technology is. And David is so far in the future with the types of things that are possible. He continually is telling us on the executive team and our staff, hey, remember where we're going. We're going to places where no one else has ever been before, and our members across the world, especially in Japan, are going to be able to take advantage of all that we are thinking of doing and planning on launching in LifeWave. So very, very exciting times. So let's talk about a few specific things. Have you been to the LifeWave Success Library? LifeWaveSuccessLibrary.com. There are now 14 ebooks, we call them, right? 14 ebooks, each covers a certain area of what it takes to be successful in LifeWave. Very specific amounts of information on various topics. My favorite is how to use the back office, what you need to know to operate within the back office. There are something like 40 questions there about it, and they are in Japanese. They're in your language. So, we operate as a company, gosh, I think it's 10 languages now. And there's going to be more coming, but we do understand the value of making sure that the key materials that we create are in the right languages, and Japan is number one. So be sure you spend time in the Success Library, get to know what's there, even if you're a veteran, even if you've been in LifeWave for a significant length of time, or you're brand new, you're just getting to know what LifeWave is all about. Spend some time in the LifeWave Success Library, and you'll really be glad you did. Something else that we're working on is the resource area, the marketing tools. When you go to the back office now, there's quite a bit of information, a lot of it in English. We understand that we want to do more and more in Japanese. And one of the things we're working on that we hope to launch in the next 60 to 90 days, it's not available now, but it is coming. And that is this whole new way that you can find these resources that are available to you, whether it's a video, whether it's a banner, whether it's a PDF that you can download, an information fact sheet. You know what's there now, but we're going to have it a whole new user interface, the ability to easily navigate amongst all the information. That's what we're doing, and that's what we're focusing on. And one of the things, by the way, that we look forward to adding to the resource area, the marketing tools, will be a new pitch book for you. We know that you do like to use a pitch book, and we know that there have been 1 or 2 or 3 created in Japan, and that's all good now. But as we transition forward, as we officially do our grand opening, off in the future, still coming, but we're going to get there. When we transition over to when LifeWave controls our destiny, we're going to want to make sure that everything is compliant. It's important. It's important. Let's not have something in the marketplace that is not compliant. It's important that we protect the brand, we protect the technology, we protect the opportunity, because the last thing we want, of course, is for someone to come walking through the door and say, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. So we're going to make sure that you have a pitch book, that we're working with Manabu to make sure we come across with something very similar to what's most popular in Japan, but it'll come from corporate. And that way you'll know that it's compliant, it says all the right things, and it speaks about that technology without making any particular type of inappropriate claim. So that is coming. Something else that we're developing that we look forward to launching probably in September is an all-new preferred customer program. Hey, wait a second. I'm talking about videos here, and indeed, let's talk about videos, because one thing in my background with television is that it's important that a message, you don't have to be the expert. You don't have to be able to talk about all the science and know everything about it. It's kind of like a light switch, isn't it? Do you know how a light switch works? I know I don't, but you flip the switch, you have electricity and you have light. Well, the purpose of the videos that we'll be producing more and more for Japan is to make sure that the message is told for you, and all you need to be is the messenger. So you can make sure that the information, again, is compliant. It says the right things. It says it in an interesting way, and so that you can have the power of video. People say a picture's worth 1,000 words. Well, a video, some people say, is worth 1,000,000 words. And then, of course, we've got the all-important recognition. A little bit later in this program, of course, we're going to be spending some time recognizing some key leaders. And we know as a company that, as I said earlier, we can't do it without leaders that have the vision, that work hard, that put one foot in front of the other and just get it done. And so we know as we bring in Tiffany Summer Johnson, she's a new hire that starts in the next few days, and she's going to be focused entirely on recognition and events, virtual events or live events. But she has 22 years of experience in this world of recognition, building fabulous incentive trips, and she knows how to put individuals, members, associates up on a pedestal. It's because when you've earned it, you deserve to be recognized. And we know that for sure as a company, and that is an area that's going to be very exciting as she begins her tenure at LifeWave. And so, there you have it. As we do build to 1 billion together, David, I got to tell you, these are interesting times, aren't they? When you think about what we're doing, where we're going, and the fact in Japan, we really are just getting started, and there's so much more we're going to be able to do to support the Japanese market. And we're excited to be able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely, Jim. You know, it's amazing what our leaders and members have done in Japan. It's the fastest growing market in the world for us. And we're very excited about other things that this is going to lead to. Of course, we're focusing on Japan. We've done what we said. We've put an office in there. We're really, really excited about having Mr. Takashima on board with us with his many, many years of experience in network marketing. And, you know, we're expecting that our sales are going to continue to grow, and we're going to have more and more opportunities in Japan. So very excited about that.
And I know everyone right now is excited that you're about ready to share some information. And I know you have some very exciting news that has to do with our technology. I'm not going to spoil it. You do it. But I think it's time for you to spend some time, David, on the technology, the latest breakthroughs and studies, the information. So I'm going to turn it over to you, and we'll get back to you in about 20 minutes or so, okay?
All right, Jim, that sounds great. Thank you very much. Well, hello, everyone, and thank you so much for your time today. Jim and I really wish that we could have been there in person, but we're very grateful that we're able to be here with you remotely and spend a little bit of time talking to you about LifeWave and X39, and also, of course, recognizing the leaders and members that have made our success possible. But I'd like to get started with you now and show you a few testimonials on X39 that you may not have seen. So I hope that you'll enjoy them. Now, I will tell you in advance that some of these images are very graphic in nature. So I apologize in advance, but I think that you will be very interested in seeing some of these. So let's go ahead and get started with it. Now, this first image, this comes from a young boy who is 13 years old. And he was sleeping on a couch, and he stood up too quickly. And he fell and hit the side of his head on a glass table, and you could see it severed his ear.
Hey, David, just stop right there. We don't see your image right now. So take a moment and make sure that's on screen.
Let's try that again. I did that once before, Jim. Sorry. Thank you so much for that. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, so apologies, everybody. Let's try that again. So here's this image. As you can see, this again is a 13-year-old boy severed his ear. As soon as this happened, of course, he was rushed off to the hospital, and his parents were able to get them to apply stitches and sew the ear back together. Now, I happened to be speaking with some people about this, and they estimated that this would take maybe 6 or 8 weeks to heal. And the parents got home, they applied X39, and now this is what happened after only 2 weeks. So that's really remarkable to see in only less than 2 weeks, it was 12 days actually, that the injury would have healed to this extent. So of course, this is what stem cell technology is all about. We want to be able to support the natural wound healing process and help to improve quality of life. Now I'm going to show you another one. This one's not quite as bad. I know that you'll find this of interest. And so this gentleman here, his name is George, and he lives in the United States, and his wife is a LifeWave distributor, and he was up on a ladder working, and he fell off the ladder and he hit the side of his head and underneath his eye on a table, and he got rushed off to the hospital. So they began to apply patches for pain relief and also apply X39. Now, what's interesting about this case is that this gentleman is in his 60s. So he's a bit older, and we would expect that the stem cell activity in his body would be very low. But again, in less than 2 weeks of using X39, we find a dramatic difference, and he has healed very, very rapidly now as a result of using our patches. So he, of course, was extremely grateful that he could heal so quickly with X39. Now, I think I'm going to show you one more, and you all may have seen this. And this one is important because it's going to be very important to what we're going to talk about this evening, and that is the reason why X39 works so well is, as most of you know, we are resetting stem cells to a younger, healthier state. Now, when people get over the age of 60, the activity of the stem cells in the body has declined. And the activity, it has declined by 60 to 80%. So how can we take advantage of the stem cells that exist in our body? Well, using light, we can activate those stem cells and get them to function like younger, healthier cells. So this woman's name is Mindy, and she lives in Australia, and she heard about X39 and wanted to use it for her health. And she noticed after 6 weeks, she was so delighted because she saw a reduction in her lines and wrinkles. So of course, because she was so happy with this, she decided that she would continue to use X39. And to her amazement, after 1 year on X39, she remarked, and friends told her, that she looked like she was more than 10 years younger from using X39. And of course, what's going on is these stem cells are helping the body create younger, healthier cells. So let's talk a little bit now about the science behind this. And we're going to talk about research into stem cells and how all of this is possible. So we're going to be looking at a double-blind study. And double-blind studies, of course, are considered the scientific gold standard. And in this clinical study looking at stem cells, we're going to be looking at how the body will manufacture proteins and hormones, what effect activating stem cells might have on memory and on sleep and on overall vitality, and also on the health of the cardiovascular system. Now, what would be important is that people today want results quickly. And it's great to see improvements in our health over a period of a few months. But let's see if we can get changes in as quickly as the first 24 hours and the first 7 days. We also want to study what happens in a group of people over the age of 40? As people get over the age of 40, the stem cells begin to slow down. So we want to see what happens. Now, this study was conducted with 50 people, so it's a very good size study. And the average age is 63. And again, this is important because over the age of 60 is when we're going to see very big declines in stem cell activity in the body. Now, by activating the stem cells, what was measured in this study, doing urine analysis and bioelectrical analysis, is that there was an improvement in the way the body processed amino acids and protein. And this information tells us how stem cells can improve the way the body heals and repairs injury. It was also found in this study that stem cells can improve the memory. Now, I'm going to be showing you in a few minutes something that you're really going to find interesting because it's a map of the brain. And I'm going to show you a study that was done here in the United States with a nuclear engineer where the brain is mapped, the stem cells are activated, and there is a dramatic improvement in the brain. That's coming up, but we also saw it in this study. Now, you know that the body is healing when we are asleep. When we're asleep, this is when the body is going to be doing most of its repair work. When the stem cells in the body are activated, the quality of the sleep improves. So this turns out to be a great benefit because when the body goes into a deep state of sleep, this is how the stem cells now can do their job. Now, not surprising, when you activate the stem cells, people will feel this as an improvement in their energy and their vitality. And this happens within the first 7 days. So one of the things that's really exciting about this is that when you're activating stem cells, most people are going to feel those effects within the first 7 days. Now, of course, we want to take care of not only our brain, but our heart. And one of the surprising benefits of activating stem cells is that it will reduce blood pressure in people that have high blood pressure. We see that the heart goes into a state of relaxation, and even the breathing improves. So by activating the stem cells, not only can you protect the health of your brain, but you can also protect the health of your heart. So this double-blind study was important because it validated that you don't have to get an injection of stem cells. By activating the stem cells already in your body, you can support the natural healing process, support the immune system, improve the memory, protect the health of the heart, improve the quality of your sleep, and improve overall feelings of wellness and vitality. So that's really exciting that just activating the stem cells will have so many benefits. But let's go a little bit further than this because we want to understand how all this is possible. And for this, we want to look at the control system in the body. In other words, how is it possible that the stem cells can be activated with light? What exactly is going on? Well, as it turns out, the stem cells have a control mechanism, and it involves a naturally occurring biochemical in the body called GHK. And GHK is a peptide, and this peptide will bind with copper. So this, of course, forms what we call copper peptide. And it's the ability of this peptide to bind with copper that gives it some really incredible properties, including activating the stem cells. So if copper peptide is this powerful, can we prove that light will elevate copper peptide? The answer is yes. So let's take a look at this. Now, this was a 10-person pilot study doing analysis of blood. And since then, there have been 2 additional studies. One study that is with 50 people, and another study with 35 people. The average age of people in this study was 64, and that's important because, again, the levels of copper peptide are low after the age of 60. We also want to look at, can we elevate copper peptide with light over the first 24 hours and 7 days? And as it turns out, the answer is yes. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with statistics, there's something called a p-value. And this is a measure to simply say that the effect that you're looking for in the study is either yes or no. And so the statistical p-value should be less than 0.05. So this is what was really exciting, is you apply light to the body, and in the first 24 hours, the blood levels of GHK go up to statistically significant levels, meaning we proved that using light, we can elevate a biochemical in the body. So just like sunlight elevates vitamin D, now we can use light to elevate GHK. And of course, we also tested for GHK copper or copper peptide. And again, we had statistical significance. So that's extremely exciting that we can see changes in the blood just by using light. So exciting. Now, we looked at how light can activate the stem cells and improve the health of the heart and the brain. And in this study, we're actually going to be looking at a visual image of the brain before and after activating the stem cells. And this study was done by a nuclear scientist in California working at UCLA. Now, in a brain mapping study, there will be electrodes around different parts of the brain, and these will be able to detect the frequencies of the brain. And if we were to look at the device, this is what it looks like. It looks like a helmet that attaches to the head. And we want to measure the speed of brain waves. So when people are awake, the brain waves are moving faster. And as people go into a state of relaxation, the brain waves begin to slow down. When people are in very, very slow brain waves, this is associated with healing. So it would be great if we could get the brain to go into a relaxed state. Now, this study involved 12 people, but there has been a second study which was done with 50 people. This study is also done with people over the age of 50, because it's after the age of 50 that people start to experience a decline in their memory and their focus. We also want to look at what happens over a period of 3 weeks and 6 weeks. Will there be any changes? And what's so exciting about this is not only were there changes, but in all 12 people, the changes were dramatic. And these were just a list of some of the conditions of the study. So, for example, we did not want people who were taking drugs in this study because it might have affected the results. Okay, here's the first image, and this is from a woman 77 years old. Now, in the image over here on the left, this is before the stem cells were activated. And these red zones indicate areas of high frequency. So you might say when a person's brain is at this level, they could be very nervous or very agitated. We can see after 3 weeks of activating the stem cells with light, there is a dramatic change. And that change continues on to 6 weeks, where the brain has gone into a state of relaxation, and this woman experienced a sense of calm and relaxation. And remember, this woman is 77 years old. And this is incredible because we would not expect the stem cells in her body to be active. Yet using light, we can activate the stem cells and produce remarkable improvements in her health. Now, this is another woman. This woman's a little bit younger, 67, but you can see she has a pre-existing health condition, and the entire brain is in a hyperactive state. So you could say this woman probably suffers with a medical condition, maybe extreme nervousness. Yet activating the stem cells in only 3 weeks, a dramatic change and a dramatic improvement. And by 6 weeks, most of those areas of hyperactivity are gone. And this woman now, after only 6 weeks, is experiencing more calm, more relaxation, better memory, better focus, sharper mind. How wonderful that for people in their 60s and older, you do not have to worry about a declining function of the brain. Activating stem cells is an answer. Now, of course, there were also men in the study, and here is a 67-year-old man. Again, area of agitation, and there is improvement after 3 weeks. Not as much as some of the others, but after 6 weeks, dramatic improvement. So this is important because many people are going to get great benefits their very first month with activating stem cells. Some people, though, will need a little bit longer. But here, this gentleman stuck with it, and 6 weeks, incredible results. And then we'll just show you one more. Again, here's a 69-year-old man, and after only 3 weeks, then 6 weeks, tremendous improvement in memory, focus, and going into a state of relaxation. So this is all to say that activating stem cells, even for people that are older, and especially for people that are over the age of 60, produces dramatic results. Improvement in the memory, in focus, in the sharpness of thoughts, and overall health. Improvement in the health of the heart, vitality, energy. Of course, dramatic support of wound healing. So we don't have to get injections of stem cells. We can do it in a very inexpensive way and a very safe way by activating the stem cells in the body. So, Jim, this is really exciting to me that technology like this is available today. 10 years ago, people would have thought, well, this is science fiction. But here we are today using light as a method for activating stem cells and producing dramatic, life-changing results.
Well, and I think it's important. I want to emphasize one thing as you've gone through that really incredible, fascinating information is the speed at which your science, the technology performs. People talk about, like, remember you showed that ear and you said, well, that would normally take weeks. And then, well, no, here's actually 10 days later. Or you describe a study where we're not talking a month or 2 months or 3 months to see a significant change in how the brain looks. No, we're talking 24 hours or 3 days or 7 days. So I got to ask you, are you surprised at the speed at which this technology performs?
Jim, I started this research program 10 years ago, and it was extremely expensive. We invested over $4 million into developing X39. And as a result, we had 70 patents in the field of devices that I invented for improving the stem cell activity in the body. And, when you start a project like this, you never know what's going to happen. And over the years, we've seen in our laboratory some really extraordinary things. But the first time that you see it, it's a big surprise when you get an outcome like this, that you can accelerate healing in such a dramatic way. And then you realize, wow, this is going to help people. And to have a tool like this, where even when you get in an accident, you have an injury, that you have a tool like this and it can be life-changing. So it's so thrilling.
And the nature of the cognitive dynamic for the brain. I mean, you actually mentioned something today. You're always discovering something, and you picked up a fact, you did some research, and you came back and said, oh, wait a minute. No wonder we're having such an impact on our cognitive function of the brain. So it is a continual discovery process, isn't it, when you are working with this science?
Yeah, there's so many things to discuss on that point. What you're referring to is that I was speaking with a biochemist today, and her specialty is gene mapping. And what we were looking at was the way copper peptide improves the gene expression in the body. And for those people there that are listening that aren't scientists, what we're really looking at is something truly extraordinary. That by activating the stem cells with light and by using light to elevate copper peptide, the cells in the body look and behave like younger, healthier cells. So when you look under the microscope, if you took the cells from someone 70 years old and you elevate the copper peptide, now all of a sudden those cells look and act younger. So this is really extraordinary. It's so exciting, and it explains why people get some of the extraordinary benefits that they do.
And the last thing I'll say, because I know we have some other things we want to get to, is the concept that universities, research centers, Big pharma, as you know, more than anybody, they're spending billions of dollars as we speak, trying to figure out the best way to make stem cells better, inject things, add drugs to your system, whatever, to allow to work against the whole aging factor. You come along, LifeWave comes along, and our entire network across the world, we come along with this ability to do something right now that no one else is able to do, as they spend billions. And we are not spending billions, are we, David? It's a phenomenal breakthrough. And I think people need to recognize what they have in their hand. It's incredible.
Yeah, with pharmaceutical companies, it's said that it can take 10 to 20 years to develop a new drug. And it's really understandable why. And tremendous amounts of money, hundreds of millions of dollars, and then regulatory approval. There's toxic side effects, and the truth of the human body. This is something that's been known in Japan and in Asia for thousands of years that is not recognized in the United States, I'm sorry to say. But in the Eastern cultures, it's recognized that human beings are beings of light. And this is sometimes thought of something mystical, but it's very, very true. Our body literally contains light, and the body is controlled by light. And Western science is just starting to accept this today. But this is why LifeWave is so powerful, because we take advantage of this. We use light to influence the body and do incredible things like activate the stem cells so people can have extraordinary health benefits, and it's not expensive.
Well, and you said a mouthful.
Right. Right.
But one of the key words there is powerful. And Manabu Takashima, please join us as you've been listening to what David had to say, Manabu, and you think about, as you're learning, you're hearing information, I'm sure, for possibly the first time also. And you think about, as you understand the Japan and what's possible and the opportunity, what is your reaction to the types of things you've just heard, and what should people be thinking right now who are listening in?
Yes. Thank you, David, and thank you, Jim-san. Yeah. That is a really, really great technology, and so maybe I think most of people feels like a proud of, So if we can get this information, we can update Japanese, and then we can share some more people. We can share more people to that, and maybe actually now we can get more great work from you.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And that's our goal, to work together to make sure we can get the information out and to help people. They don't have to be scientists. They don't have to get really technical. It's understanding that the science underneath this beautiful little patch is sophisticated, it's real, it's proven, and that's the key. And, as we think about the success that members are experiencing in Japan, and you think about where this is all going, the one thing that we do as a company, and Manabu, you know this, and David, I know over the last 15 years, you've had a heart for making sure that we think about those that aren't necessarily part of the LifeWave community, but those outside the community that can use help, when they're in times of need. And certainly with the success that we're having, we have additional resources and we're able to give back. And you had a chance to learn about this organization called Convoy of Hope, which is a nonprofit organization that is, their total mission is to help children eat and have nourishment and be able to feed themselves. And in fact, since 1994, they've fed over 100 million people worldwide. And currently they're feeding 300,000 children in 18 nations. And when you discovered this organization and you brought it to our attention and said, you know, we need to do something because this group is dedicated in a way that really makes sense for us as a company at LifeWave. What are your thoughts about that, David?
Yeah, absolutely, Jim. I think maybe it'd be a good idea. Let's play the video that we have, and then we can talk about that a little bit more.
Terrific. Take a look at this, folks.
Extreme poverty is talked about like it's permanent, that it can never be solved. But we know right now a different story is being written, a story of world-changing kindness, a story of hope. The Convoy of Hope community is making a measurable impact in the fight against hunger, injustice, poverty, and devastation. We're passionate about connecting civic leaders, business owners, churches, and others with vulnerable communities so they can make a tangible difference. In just 25 years, we've served 100 million people. With every warm meal, bag of groceries, and smile from a volunteer, the cycle of hopelessness is derailed a little bit more. But the fight isn't over yet. While we've taken great strides to end extreme poverty, we need your help if we're going to see it eradicated in our lifetimes. Together, let's keep writing a story of hope.
As you can see by the video, Convoy of Hope has a driving desire to help the most vulnerable and hurting. My name is Vaughn Lamas. I am the Regional Director for Convoy of Hope. And I wanted to take this opportunity to thank LifeWave so much for your most generous donation at this time. That $10,000 donation will make a huge impact on individuals around the globe today. It will feed 10,000 people. And we are so grateful for your partnership in a time like this, because it's when you step in and step up in this most difficult of times that we can see a great impact and we can see how you're touching others through your generosity. So on behalf of the many people that you're helping, on behalf of Convoy, and for the gratefulness for LifeWave and all that you are doing, I want to say 10,000 thank yous because you are making a difference.
And that's just terrific, David, because that's, you know, let's face it, our mission, we are making a difference with our technology, and anything we can do outside our community to make a difference as well. That's something that's terrific that we're able to do, isn't it?
Yeah, and the fact that this is a global organization, we're a global company, even though we started in the United States, we have members in over 100 countries. So when we think about making donations, it should be to the world community. So it was great that we could find this organization and make a contribution.
And Manabu, as you unmute your mic, we just want to thank you very, very much for you helping us pull this webinar together, because we've had upwards of 800 people attend, which is a fantastic turnout. And we want to just congratulate you on all that you've been doing to help Japan as a country have a terrific foundation to now continue to go forward. So David and I both want to thank you so much for everything you're doing.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, there you are. David, Manabu, I guess we're finished. Anything else you want to say, Manabu? All right. Then we have enjoyed this time with you. We appreciate everything that all of you are doing in Japan. And David and I both look forward to coming to see you live in person as soon as we can. Right, David?
Absolutely.
All righty. So till next time, we'll see you all at the top. Continued success.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care now. Have a great day.